What if Hollywood's greatest empire wasn't built on dreams, but on broken souls? Behind MGM's shimmering lights, shadows lurked, secrets darker than anyone imagined. Louis B. Mayer wasn't just a studio executive, he was Hollywood's king. His power was absolute, his influence terrifying. He discovered stars, made legends, and controlled every aspect of their lives. To the world, he was a mentor. To those who knew him, he was ruthless, manipulative, a man who thrived on control and secrecy. Actors obeyed and became icons. Those who resisted vanished. Scandals disappeared, careers were shattered, and some never recovered. The cameras rolled, the stars shined, and the audience never knew the truth. But behind MGM's golden gates, Mayer's empire hid countless buried voices. The world saw Louis B. Mayer as a genius, a visionary who built Hollywood into an empire. But his rise wasn't about creativity, it was about control. Born in 1885 in Eastern Europe, he arrived in America with nothing but ambition. He had no formal education, no filmmaking background, no artistic vision. What he did have was an unmatched ability to manipulate people, bend them to his will, and seize power where others hesitated. In 1924, he became the head of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, MGM. Within years, he turned it into the most powerful movie studio in the world. He saw actors as products, not people. Their contracts were airtight, their lives micromanaged. Their relationships, public image, weight, nothing was beyond his control. For Mayer, Hollywood was his kingdom, and he ruled with fear. Stars knew that crossing him meant career destruction. Obedience, however, brought superstardom. His power reached beyond the studio. He controlled the press, the police, even doctors treating his stars. Scandals were buried, difficult actors disappeared. Mayer didn't just shape Hollywood, he owned it, and he would do anything to keep it that way. Louis B. Mayer didn't just run MGM Studios, he controlled the lives of everyone under him. He didn't simply manage careers, he dictated personal lives, controlled bodies, and decided futures with terrifying precision. To Mayer, actors and actresses were investments. If an actor's teeth weren't perfect, they were fixed. If an actress's figure wasn't ideal, she was sent for surgery. Weight fluctuations meant punishing diets. But this was only the beginning. He took a special interest in young actresses, molding them to fit his vision. Judy Garland was one of his most tragic victims. She arrived at MGM as a teenager dreaming of stardom. Mayer saw her talent, but also her vulnerability. He put her on amphetamines to keep her working, then sleeping pills to rest. She barely ate, lived in exhaustion, and craved approval. He would pull her onto his lap, stroking her hair, whispering how much he loved her. His hands lingered too long, making her skin crawl. He said it was how he could feel my heart, she later wrote. Even then, she knew it was wrong. But what could she do? Mayer reminded her daily, without him, she was nothing. Others suffered too. Gene Howard rejected his advances and her career crumbled. Scripts stopped arriving, studios turned away. Lena Horne endured his unwanted touch during a press conference, frozen in shock. Mayer acted as if nothing happened. He didn't have to speak. His power ensured silence. He arranged marriages to protect reputations. Pregnancies were ended if they threatened the studio's image. Affairs were buried. For years, Mayer controlled everything, but some secrets were too big to stay hidden forever. Louis B. Mayer built his empire on control, but control alone wasn't always enough. When scandals threatened MGM, he had one solution: erase them before they could destroy his studio. With power, money, and the right people, he made problems disappear. One of the most chilling examples was the Clark Gable hit-and-run cover-up. One night, after heavy drinking, Gable got behind the wheel. A pedestrian was struck, left to die on the pavement. It should have been a career-ending scandal, but it never made the headlines. Mayer acted fast. His team of fixers, private police and studio enforcers, erased the evidence. The accident report vanished, witnesses were silenced. An innocent man, likely a paid-off studio employee, took the blame. Gable's career continued, his reputation intact. Mayer didn't just protect male stars, he controlled Hollywood's women in brutal ways. If a young actress became pregnant, Mayer decided whether she could keep the child. If a relationship threatened the studio's image, it was erased. Patricia Douglas learned this the hard way. A 20-year-old hopeful, she attended what she thought was an MGM party. But it was a trap. Powerful men, free-flowing alcohol, and no way out. She was drugged and raped by an MGM executive. When she sought justice, Mayer's machine crushed her. The police ignored her. The media stayed silent. Instead of punishing her attacker, MGM destroyed her. She was blacklisted, branded a liar, and cast aside. The MGM empire ran on secrets and manipulation. Mayer controlled not just movies, but reality itself. The public saw the glamour, never the fear behind it. But even the most powerful kings don't rule forever. For decades, Louis B. Mayer ruled Hollywood with an iron grip. He built an empire where scandals were buried before they made headlines, where actors lived in fear of his wrath. But no empire lasts forever. By the late 1940s, cracks began to form. The war had ended, television was rising, and audiences demanded something new. The rigid contracts that once made MGM powerful were now seen as chains. Mayer's strict control was losing its grip on Hollywood. Then came Dor Sherry. Young and ambitious, Sherry wanted to modernize MGM. He saw Mayer's obsession with control and idealized films as outdated. For the first time, Mayer faced real opposition from within his own studio. Arrogant and confident, Mayer made a fatal mistake. He believed the board would never remove him. He issued an ultimatum: either Sherry goes or I do. He assumed he was untouchable, but Hollywood had changed. The board called his bluff. Mayer was forced out of MGM, the empire he had built with his own hands. He tried to make a comeback, but Hollywood had moved on. His calls went unanswered. The men who once feared him no longer cared. For the first time in his life, Louis B. Mayer was powerless. Louis B. Mayer spent his life building an empire where he was untouchable, where his word was law, and where no one dared to challenge him. But once that power was gone, so was he. The man who had shaped Hollywood, who controlled the lives of countless stars, became just another relic of the past. Hollywood moved on. The studio system he ruled for decades collapsed as actors and directors broke free from restrictive contracts. The Academy Awards, which he helped create, continued without him. The stars he once controlled, some broken, some ruined, some long gone, were no longer his to manipulate. As years passed, he grew isolated. His second wife remained, but his inner circle had either abandoned him or passed away. Even his own daughter, Edith, was cut from his will because her husband's liberal views embarrassed him. He could never tolerate opposition, even from family. Then his body failed him. Leukemia drained his strength, but Mayer, ever the control freak, fought desperately. He visited doctors daily, underwent 20 blood transfusions, refusing to accept the inevitable. But death came anyway. On October 29, 1957, Hollywood's most feared mogul took his final breath. Thousands attended his funeral, some mourning, others relieved, knowing his reign of control had finally ended. Louis B. Mayer shaped Hollywood, building MGM into a powerhouse and creating the star system that still exists today. But behind the glamour was a world of fear and control. He ruled with an iron fist, exploiting actors, covering up crimes, and silencing victims. Judy Garland's struggles with addiction started under his watch. Patricia Douglas was raped and erased from history. Clark Gable walked free after a hit and run. Mayer's methods never truly died. Power, manipulation, and cover-ups still lurk in Hollywood's shadows. Audiences saw the magic, never the pain. For many, Hollywood was a dream. For those under Mayer's rule, it was a nightmare. And in some ways, that nightmare never really ended.